Stop manually creating Jira tickets. Seriously, stop. If you are still typing out user stories, copying acceptance criteria, and manually assigning tickets, you are wasting 15 hours every single week. There is an AI tool that integrates with Jira natively and can do all that for you automatically. And I'm really shocked how few project managers actually know about it. Just look at this. With one sentence, this tool created 6 comprehensive user stories in just a matter of 10 minutes without us doing anything. I'll show you exactly how to set this up, and by the end of this video you'll cut your Jira admin tasks by 80%. Let's do this. Everyone knows ChatGPT, and it's a great AI tool for everyday use, but we as project managers need a more powerful tool. That's why we'll be using Claude AI. And basically, this is an agentic AI. It can access multiple tools and decide which tools to use. So first of all, we'll connect Claude with our Jira. And we go to Settings, Connectors, and there are a lot of pre-built connectors here. We'll click this Browse Connectors. As you can see, there are a lot of pre-built connections. We need Atlassian, so clicking here. Next, you will see this screen, which will prompt you to give access to your Jira and Confluence. And you may have several extra steps if you have never done this before or you are not logged in, but basically you are giving Claude access to Atlassian MCP server. Alright, in a few seconds you'll see that Atlassian is connected, and now we can start using it. But we'll not just automate your Jira usage, we'll actually build an AI brain that knows everything about your project, and it can adjust Jira tickets and Confluence and give you a lot of analytics and some deep research based on the work you have there. That's why we'll go to Projects and create a new project here. And we'll call it Budget Tracker Brain. Okay, I will not go into details. I will add instructions. These are like the character of this project. And here I'll simply say that you are a world-class business analyst and agile project manager. You work with Jira Project Budget Tracker. And these are all the instructions I need. But here's where it gets fancy. I have 8 transcripts of meetings with clients and customers about the product that we need to develop. So I will upload this into this project so that Claude has all the required context to help me with Jira administration. Alright, we're ready to start working with our integration. I'll be using Whisperflow to dictate all my prompts. If you don't know what Whisperflow is, I am going to leave you a link to a video which talks about 7 tools that I use all the time. Check them after this video. They will save you 15 hours per week minimum. And first of all, let me show what it looks like right now inside my Jira. So there are some epics already created and some user stories in some cases. So what we're going to ask here right now is the following. Give me the list of all epics in the Budget Tracker Jira project and group them into 2 categories: epics with full description and epics that don't have any description. As you can see, here's my prompt. Let's get started. As you can see, Claude identified that it needs to work with Jira, so it goes to find the project and epics. Alright, as you can see, it has found all the epics, and as I asked it, it grouped into epics with full description and epics without description here. Alright, and it gives me some additional information. Now, what can we do here? We will work with one of these epics. Let's, for example, take this one. Based on the attached documents in the project, write the full description to the following epic. And let it work. So as you can see, I asked it to go and read through all the transcripts and all the discussions we had about this specific feature. And if it can find it, it will write out the epic and will create it inside Jira or update the existing ticket with the description. Now, here's an important point. As you can see, Claude asks me if I want to allow it to update Jira. And this is a human-in-the-middle concept. So I can review everything it's going to update in that ticket before I allow it. And as you can see, you can allow it once or allow it always. If you're just starting out, I suggest that you work with allow it once and do it one by one. But after you get some proficiency and you trust the system, you can basically switch it to always allow. So I'll click allow once, and it goes to update the Jira issue right now. So as you can see, it went and updated and even verified that it updated it correctly and everything was saved. Here's a quick summary of everything it did. Okay, let's check what it's updated in the ticket. Here's the ticket that we were working with. And as you can see, here's the whole fully written description, business value, user need, what's in the scope, what's out of scope. And this is all based on the transcripts that we had with the customer. It's not something that it's just hallucinated from the internet. Acceptance criteria, some user stories that may be related to this, and dependencies. Of course, if you will write a more specific prompt on how to write these descriptions, you may get only the required sections in the epic description. Here's a critical mindset shift that all project managers need to make. You're running all those meetings and you're collecting all those transcripts with one thing in mind, that I'm going to use it with this AI tool to automate my work. That's why creating a structured Q&A sessions and interview sessions with your clients and customers about requirements is critical. So now, based on all the information that I have in those transcripts, I can actually write automatically all the user stories for this epic. Now create a list of user stories for this epic. Follow the best practices of writing user stories. Create detailed description, acceptance criteria, and a section that outlines possible dependencies on other epics. All right, here's the prompt, and let's get started. So as you can see, it started searching for information in those transcripts and on the internet on the best practices of writing user stories. And now it will start creating Jira issues. All right, in this case, I allowed Claude to create all user stories at once. And in about 5 minutes, it created all the user stories and gave me this perfect summary with everything it has done so far. Let's go to Jira and see how it actually looks. So let's refresh this, and here's our epic. And then if we go down, here are all the beautiful user stories here that Claude has created. Again, using the Hirken syntax here, given a when then, and very detailed, very in-depth. Again, if you are not a professional business analyst, that could save you, I don't know, 20, 50 hours each week writing out these user stories. And obviously it will be a starting point and you want to go and edit it, but it's much better than creating it all from scratch. Now, here's the most powerful thing here. I use some generic prompts and I let Claude decide on how to write user stories, how to name them. But imagine that you can go to your project here and also add a file that will have specific instructions on how to write user stories with some examples. And then in this instructions section, you will say that I want you to follow the instructions on how to write perfect user stories in that file. And the output will be structured based on those instructions. Let's try another crazy thing with Claude. Let's write a prompt here. Based on the conversations that we have in this project, create a Confluence page in the budget tracker project and make in-depth risk register. So here's our prompt. Let's just leave it as is. Obviously, you can specify the fields in the risk register. In this case, I'm just showing what's possible. All right, it took about 2 minutes for Claude to write out the whole risk register. Let's allow it, and we'll see what the Confluence page looks like in the end. Document summary, some criteria for risk register. Great, we didn't give this information to the AI, so it created itself, and now it's described it. Okay, open banking API, that's one of the features that we discussed with the clients. So, okay, description, no team member has prior experience with open banking API integration. Great, that's true. Impact, all right, probability. All right, this is good. I'll go mitigations, proof of concept, nice. All right, that's good. Azure receipt recognition accuracy, that's something that we discussed as well with customers, just as a high-level risk. Very good. So iOS App Store approval delays, that's a common risk. We haven't discussed this, but I think Claude has found it on the internet based on our conversation that we need to go to App Store, and this is our responsibility to get the approval. All right. Okay, scope complexity unknown. Very well. So as you can see, like, again, it's a good starting point, and probably we can ask it to make it as a table for better readability, or we can keep it as is in this format. And if you want more tools like this, then I recommend that you watch this video next. I'm going to share these 7 tools that I'm using daily that save me tens of hours each week. And these are specifically for project managers. Click the video now, I'm waiting for you there.